It's don't mean much.
When people talk about a booming economy, but you see this, do you believe that people are being left behind?
I definitely believe. I know people are being left behind.
Nationwide, nearly 1 in 4 black women live below the poverty line. In Mississippi, it's 1 in 3.
Most folks, particularly black women, are pigeonholed into these low-income, poverty-level jobs that do not create a pathway out.
That's why Nyandoro created Springboard To Opportunities, programs to help single black mothers. She's testing a new idea gaining national attention.
Oh, that's 2 in 1.
Giving out cash, privately funded, no strings attached, to see how the women choose to spend it without government requirements, a concept called universal basic income. Nyandoro chose 20 mothers at random.
Why am I calling you Tacola?
I was picked.
You were picked.
To receive $1,000 every month.
Your name was chosen.
For 1 year.
What does this money mean to you?
I love freedom.
Tia Cunningham works at a senior living facility where she makes $10.31 an hour.
What does your paycheck usually look like?
Between $500 and $600.
$500 and $600.
Yes, ma'am. This every 2 weeks.
Now, with the additional money, she's chosen to pay down debt, $3,000 so far.
I was able to pay bills off, get my credit straight.
And go visit her father in Pennsylvania, something she couldn't afford for 20 years.
It was emotional. I wish I could spend more time with them.
What is the biggest difference between this program and a government subsidy?
You know, government subsidy comes with a lot of conditions and comes with a lot of rules about how you have to use the resources. With this, we are saying, it's your money. We're getting more into the inner city.
A bold experiment that Nyandoro will expand next year, giving women more than just money, but also the chance to take control of their lives. Blaine Alexander, NBC News.
Hi, welcome. I just wanted to quickly announce that we're just waiting until about 7 more minutes until more people arrive, but wanted to welcome everyone and thank you for joining us. You are at the Investing in Mothers, Stories from a Guaranteed Income Pilot panel discussions. Hopefully you're at the right place. We will be starting the program shortly, probably closer to 5 p.m. Thanks.
Jackson, Mississippi, 1,200 miles and a world away from the records being set on Wall Street. In a state where only 10% own stock, Aisha Nyandoro knows here.
So this used to be a thriving shopping complex.
Strong markets don't mean much.
When people talk about a booming economy, but you see this, do you believe that people are being left behind?
I definitely believe. I know people are being left behind.
Nationwide, nearly 1 in 4 black women live below the poverty line. In Mississippi, it's 1 in 3.
Most folks, particularly black women, are pigeonholed into these low-income, poverty-level jobs that do not create a pathway out.
That's why Nyandoro created Springboard To Opportunities, programs to help single black mothers. She's testing a new idea gaining national attention.
Oh, that's 2 in 1.
Giving out cash, privately funded, no strings attached, to see how the women choose to spend it without government requirements, a concept called universal basic income. Nyandoro chose 20 mothers at random.
Why am I calling you Tacola?
I was picked.
You were picked.
To receive $1,000 every month.
Your name was chosen.
For 1 year.
What does this money mean to you?
I love freedom.
Tia Cunningham works at a senior living facility where she makes $10.31 an hour.
What does your paycheck usually look like?
Between $500 and $600.
$500 and $600.
Yes, ma'am. This every 2 weeks.
Now, with the additional money, she's chosen to pay down debt, $3,000 so far.
I was able to pay bills off, get my credit straight.
And go visit her father in Pennsylvania, something she couldn't afford for 20 years.
It was emotional. I wish I could spend more time with them.
What is the biggest difference between this program and a government subsidy?
You know, government subsidy comes with a lot of conditions and comes with a lot of rules about how you have to use the resources. With this, we are saying, it's your money. We're getting more into the inner city.
A bold experiment that Nyandoro will expand next year, giving women more than just money, but also the chance to take control of their lives. Blaine Alexander, NBC News. Jackson, Mississippi, 1,200 miles and a world away from the records being set on Wall Street. In a state where only 10% own stock, Aisha Nyandoro knows here,
So this used to be a thriving shopping complex.
strong markets don't mean much.
When people talk about a booming economy, but you see this, do you believe that people are being left behind?
I definitely believe. I know people are being left behind.
Nationwide, nearly 1 in 4 black women live below the poverty line. In Mississippi, it's 1 in 3.
Most folks, particularly black women, are pigeonholed into these low-income, poverty-level jobs that do not create a pathway out.
That's why Nyandoro created Springboard To Opportunities, programs to help single black mothers. She's testing a new idea gaining national attention,
Oh, that's 2 in 1.
giving out cash, privately funded, no strings attached, to see how the women choose to spend it without government requirements, a concept called universal basic income. Nyandoro chose 20 mothers at random.
Why am I calling you Tacola?
I was sick.
You were picked.
To
Like
receive
some good
$1,000
news?
every month
Your name was chosen.
for 1 year.
What does this money mean to you?
A little freedom.
Tia Cunningham works at a senior living facility where she makes $10.31 an hour.
What does your paycheck usually look like?
Between $500 and $600.
$500 and $600.
Yes, ma'am. This every 2 weeks.
Now, with the additional money, she's chosen to pay down debt, $3,000 so far.
I was able to pay bills off, get my credit straight.
And go visit her father in Pennsylvania, something she couldn't afford for 20 years.
It was emotional. I wish I could spend more time with them.
What is the biggest difference between this program and a government subsidy?
You know, government subsidy comes with a lot of conditions and comes with a lot of rules about how you have to use the resources. With this, we are saying, it's your money. We're getting more into the inner city.
A bold experiment that Nyandoro will expand next year, giving women more than just money, but also the chance to take control of their lives. Blaine Alexander, NBC News.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Welcome to the panel, Investing in Mothers, Stories from a Guaranteed Income Pilot. My name is Rennie Soga. I'm the producer of the film Inherent Good. And I just really want to take a second to thank Income Movement, who is our co-host this evening and is running everything behind the show and on Zoom. So I wanted to take a moment to thank them, but also we want to take a couple minutes to let everybody sort of, join the webinar. I see more people are joining, so let's just take a moment and allow folks to arrive. And if you can, go ahead and sort of tell us, who you are and where you're joining us from. Hi, Yenny. Thanks for joining us tonight. Hi, Kathleen from Brooklyn. We'll just give it a few more minutes, or I should say a minute. Hey, Mackenzie from Washington. Thanks for joining us. So just quickly, some housekeeping tips. You've probably seen that like on the slideshow loop, but since we're live streaming, best thing to do is to close out all unnecessary apps while Zoom is running, and also to disconnect any other like household devices that may be connected to your internet. If you can do that now, that would be great. That would probably give you the best sort of live stream experience. Looks like we have a few more people joining. Yes, hi Janet. Yes, you're all muted by default, but there is an option, I believe, to raise your hand, but we will be, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the Q&A box. Okay, well, just going to get started and we'll have, last few people join us. But hi again, welcome to the panel Investing in Mothers, Stories from a Guaranteed Income Pilot. I'm Rennie Soga, the producer of the film Inherent Good. If you haven't seen the film yet, we are currently offering a limited digital release on our website. You can watch the film currently now until September 20th. And once again, that's on our website, inherentgood.com. And I'm really excited this evening. I'm honored to be joined tonight by 3 women featured in our film, Inherent Good. First, I'd like to introduce Aisha Nyandoro, who's the CEO of Springboard To Opportunities. I'll give her a second to join us. Hi, Aisha.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for joining us. In 2018, Aisha launched a groundbreaking guaranteed income pilot program in Jackson, Mississippi. It's called the Magnolia Mothers Trust. And the program provided $1,000 a month for 12 months to Black mothers living in affordable housing. And we documented, and we had the fortunate access to document this pilot program when it launched in December 2018. And we were able to film and capture some of the mothers that were part of that program. And so I'm very excited to announce that also joining us are 2 participants from that program, Ciara McDonald and Elsie McCoy. Give them a second to join and turn on their video. Yep.
Hi.
Hey. And do we have Ciara on?
Yes, ma'am.
We do. Hi. How are you?
Doing great.
It's good to see you, ladies. So thank you all so much for being here, and I'll hand it off to Aisha.
Thank you so much for having us and for that intro. And good evening, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us tonight for this conversation. As said, my name is Aisha Nyandoro, and I am the Chief Executive Officer of Springboard To Opportunities, which is a nonprofit organization started in 2013. We serve families that live in federally subsidized affordable housing, providing them with the supports that they need in order to reach their goals in life, school, and work. Our work has always been what we call radically resident driven. This means that everything for us starts from the stories and experiences of our families. We believe that families themselves know better than anyone what it is that they need to thrive. which is why the first thing we do before designing a program or creating a service is ask our residents, what is it that they need? This was no different when we started our work around guaranteed income in the Magnolia Mothers Trust. Year after year, we would host focus groups and community conversations with families, asking them what was currently preventing them from reaching their goals. And every time they would tell us the same thing: cash. Voucher programs were restrictive and limiting and didn't allow them to spend the money on things their families needed. Cash welfare was nearly impossible to get and came with paternalistic and dehumanizing requirements like parenting classes and invasive checks into personal spending habits that implied that these women were not good mothers and did not have the skills or discernment necessary to support their families. So it was out of these stories and experiences that the idea for the Magnolia Mothers Trust formed. It was intended to be a support program built first and foremost on trust and honoring the inherent dignity of every participant. Our moms came together and helped design the program, and everything from the amount of disbursements to the length of the program. As we began our first pilot, which Ciara and Elsie participated in, we continued these conversations with mothers, asking them what supports they needed and what they might be interested in learning along the way, and how we could help build community and connection among them. These conversations helped us form and build the program that we have today, and we continue to refine and restructure pieces of it based on the feedback that we continue to receive from participants. For us, guaranteed income has never been about some heady philosophy or futuristic idea that the robots are coming. It has always been grounded firmly and intentionally in the stories and lived experiences of Black women in Jackson, Mississippi. When we first started the Magnolia Mothers Trust, the goals were twofold. How do we support our mothers as they work towards their dreams? And how do we change the narrative about poverty, divorcing moralism from the conversation to telling more affirming stories grounded in dignity and truth? And that's why tonight I am honored to get to facilitate this conversation and where two of the amazing women that I have come to know and love over the last couple of years have an opportunity to share their stories. I love to talk about policy and ideas and what the future may hold for Springboard to Opportunities in the Magnolia Mothers Trust, but I am not interested in having those conversations tonight. Tonight, I am simply honored to be able to facilitate the conversations about real experiences and real people. As an organization, we strive to find every opportunity to lift up and provide platforms for our families to tell our stories, to tell their stories, because we believe that when we actually listen to those stories, we get to create real narrative change and ultimately better policies necessary for our country to move forward, rather than just a privileged few. So without further ado, I would like to formally introduce you to Elsie McCoy and Ciara McDonald, two women who were participants in the first round of the Magnolia Mothers Trust. Good evening, Elsie and Ciara, once again.
Hello.
Good evening. So as we get started, I'd love for both of you to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your story and your family. And Elsie, if I can, I'll start with you, and then we'll go directly to Ciara.
Okay. My name is Elsie McCoy. I used to live in the village apartments, but I was able, and thank God, to move. I have two kids, a son and a daughter. My son just turned 17 on the 9th, and my daughter turned 10 in July. This experience was a great experience for me. It taught me a lot. I budgeted it well to the best of my ability. It was a well-rounded thing. It was exciting to even just meet some of the ladies, because I was always a to myself person, so it was exciting. Aisha, very loving person. You can always go to her and talk to her about whatever it is that you needed. She always called and checked to see how was things going. Rainy also stayed in contact with me from December up until tonight. They was amazing. They followed me through Jackson to do laundry, to go shopping. They did it, and we even went out to eat, and Raina asked me just on the other night, what about the restaurant you took us to? I wouldn't mind going back. So it was Mama Pearl's, which is on Terry Road. But in all, I enjoyed the program, and it wasn't just about the money. It was about the learning process as well. I was able to move my kids out of poverty. That meant a lot to me because some nights my kids, I had to work overnight, and my kids would be home by themselves, which my son was old enough to do that. But it helped me to budget and to really just realize, the importance of life. So I was able to move to a better area for my kids. I was able to give me a new car, which I needed a better car for me and my kids to get transportation. So in all, it was an amazing, amazing journey for me and my kids.
Thank you so much, Elsie, for sharing. And so we'll definitely get into more particulars about the program and your learning and the insights for the year from your year participating. But Ciara, I'd love to turn it over to you. And if you just could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ciara McDonald. I'm 31. I have 3 beautiful kids. I'm currently in school, and that's kind of what I spend my day doing, the kids in school.
Kids in school. Wonderful. Ciara, what are you in school for? And when did you go back to school? Can you give us a little of that background?
I'm in school for medical billing and coding. I went back to school right before starting the program, the Mother's Trust program, which another program that was offered to me at the time allowed me to be able to have the opportunity to go back to school. So I was excited about that as well.
Great, thank you. So I know December of 2018, given where we are now in the world, it seems like a million years ago, but it actually was only 2 short years ago. So if you could, take me back to December when you received that very random phone call from me in the morning where I indicated that we had done our lottery process and that you had been selected to participate in the Magnolia Mother's Trust. Just take me back to that moment, whether or not it was excitement, scared, trepidation, whatever the feelings were, and walk me through that. Ciara, I'll start with you, and then Elsie, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. When I received the phone call, I had just waken up, so I was trying to get my thoughts about the conversation that we were having. But I was most definitely excited because hearing about the program, hearing that you could be one of the ones, makes you, have the time to really sit down and say, well, what if I become one of those people who get chosen? Like, what would I do? How would I do it? And so I had all those thoughts about what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it. But then when I actually got the money, everything changed. Like everything, all the plans, some of the plans that I had, I still stuck to, but a lot of it, I had to help my mom. She was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. So helping her, and then I didn't have plans to be married, so that became one of the things that I ended up doing as far as having the money, planning for a wedding, and being able to get caught up on bills and everything. So that whole excited, like that whole year was so excited. It was good and bad, I can say that. But most definitely, everything became a great experience. Like I can actually look back now and say that I wouldn't do anything different.
Wonderful, thank you. Elsie, take us back to that moment. You received a random phone call from me. Were you at home? Were you at work? Do you remember where you were when I called?
That day, I was actually at work. I missed the call. And I called back, and Aisha was like, Elsie? And I was like, yes. And she was like, you know why I'm calling? I was like, She was like, you don't know. I said, did I win? She was like, yes, you were picked as one. But in my mind, I was like, I get paid. I was on salary base. I'm still on salary base. that it helped me out tremendously, because when you living from month to month off of a pay and you paying all your bills just out of that one check, it's a lot. It's overwhelming, because my son also was starting to be a part of the band at Jim Hill, and band dues was $500. That's not including the extra things that they needed. Instrument, $1,800 for an instrument. So, and it really helped me to take my kids places that I wasn't able to take them before, to have things that they wasn't able to have before. And like I said, it helped me. I saved and I moved to my kids to a better environment. And I had a car, but I wanted something better for me and my kids, to have transportation to get back and forth. Sometimes my son had games. The games were out of town, and I always want to support my kids. And I tell my kids, if you start, you have to finish. So the money was amazing. Mm-hmm. And I put back, and me putting back was helping me to move forward in life for something that I always wanted.
So Elsie,
so I wouldn't change, like Ciara said, I wouldn't change nothing that I wouldn't change anything.
Wonderful, thank you. So Elsie, okay. You say you put back. When you say you put back, what does that mean?
It means I budgeted, and I knew that I wanted to get my kids out of where we live. It was days that I cried because I saved money, and I'm trying to, everywhere I went, it was like it wasn't where I wanted to be. So I saved my money, put it back, and when I moved, I didn't have to pay nobody to ask nobody for anything to help me to move. Mm-hmm. When they called and said your deposit needs to be paid, I had it. Mm-hmm. When I went to go get my car, my car broke down, and I didn't have money to put forward to get me another car. Mm-hmm. So I had all of that saved up, and I didn't just spend. I spent when it was necessary.
And how did that make you feel, Elsie, to have the money necessary to pay for the things that you needed for your family without having to ask someone else to assist you with that?
It made me feel good, and believe it or not, it was times that I could help somebody else. Mm. My mom in November suffered a stroke. My mom medicine cost her $700. She wasn't old. Well, she hadn't reached where she was old enough to start drawing her Medicaid, Medicare. She was actually working, but she couldn't afford her medicine, so I was able to help her do that.
Mm-hmm. And Ciara, I know you've talked extensively about the ability to be able to help your mom over the course of the year, as well as to be able to do some of the other pieces for your immediate family. How did that feel, knowing that you had the ability to pay it forward during this time?
Oh, it was a relief. I know for me and her, because my mom wasn't on any type of insurance, Medicaid or anything. So everything costs, from her hospital bills to her medicine to the equipment. I learned so much about what it means for somebody, to actually have cancer, and what it takes to take care of them, and what do they need. And then to actually, like Elsie said, to actually have the money to go and get it, was just a relief, like not even having to stress about it. You just getting up and going and get it. Her not having to worry on top of already worrying, if she's going to live or die, or, or is it going to get worse, or what's going to come next. I took a lot of stress from her, as well as, our family members. It was such a great, it came at the exact time that I needed it.
So thank you for that, Ciara. So in this conversation, we've talked some about what life was like prior to receiving the guaranteed income, and how having this income allowed you to relieve some of the stress or some of the pressure cooker, take some of that off of life. But what are some of the pieces that really brought you joy over the course of your year of participating in the Magnolia Mothers Trust? When you sit back at it now and you say, wow, I was able to accomplish blank. What are some of the pieces that you get really excited about?
Oh,
Elsie? Oh, well, Ciara, you're ready. Go.
You can
You're
go.
good. Go.
Okay.
Go ahead, sis.
Go ahead.
You can go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I had a lot going on. In that year, I went back. I was going to school. Financial aid hadn't kicked in, so I had to pay for books. So I, being able to go and get my books, being able to stay, on top of my classes and everything. Like I was so happy because looking at my classmates, I wanted to help, but again, like I was happy for the help in myself, to be able to have it myself. So I would like tell them, you can come over and use my book, but a lot of people couldn't get their books. A lot of people couldn't stay caught up in class. So that I was excited about being able to stay on top of everything I needed to be on top in class, getting everything done as far as bills, and again, me getting married, that played a big part in helping me prepare for the wedding. So that was a lot of joy. Doing stuff for the kids, birthdays. I had never stayed on top of doing things for the kids. It was always something last minute, and I could go ahead and plan for it. And in the time before it got there, I could go ahead and buy little things as I saw it. And by the time that day will come, I would have everything that I need because I was able to put back, like Elsie said, budget. I actually went through a budget in class that taught me how to budget. So I applied that to everything else that I learned as far as all the classes that I took, all the classes from school, from the other program with Miss Aisha. Everything that I learned, I just applied it to my everyday life and with the spending of the money. And it brought a lot of happiness and everything.
Wonderful. And Ciara, applauses to you as I know that over the course of the year, you talk about school. I know that you completed your GED and how long you have been working towards that. So continued applauses for that and the fact that you're continuing to be enrolled in your medical billing and coding class. Salute to you for all of that. So Elsie, what are some of the pieces that brought you joy? I know y'all went to the beach and that was very exciting. But what were some of the other pieces of having the income? And you went to the beach for the first time. You went to Orange Beach. So I know that, but what are some of the other pieces that brought you extreme joy over the course of the year?
Well, at the time when we first got the money, it was coming around to Christmas. It was December. Rena had that excitement with me. I was able to get my kids what they wanted. Able to take them places to see other. I never been to Alabama. I was able to take them to Alabama because I never been. Just being able to do something that I wanted to do and never had the funds to even do it. That was exciting to me as well as my kids. My kids are my everything. It's some things in their life that I didn't have growing up as a child that they have. They have cell phones, and they cell phone been on ever since that day when.
Elsie, something has happened. We can't hear you right now. Elsie?
So much to me because that was a shocker. My mom was at work. When she had had 3 strokes at work that day. She didn't know what was going on. She was hospitalized, and she had money in the bank. But when you paying $700 for insulin, that's a lot. So just being able to have that joy and excitement to help my mom when it was in her time of need.
No, thank you for that. You know, both of you are so right. Having the ability to support families when so many times our families are supporting us, we don't talk enough about the importance of that. And Elsie, you're so right. Having the ability to say yes to some of our kids' wants, not just always having to focus on their needs. How affirming is that when we really talk about our role as parents? So I know a lot we talk about with Springboard and with this work, the importance of changing the narrative and really centering families in a decision-making process. What do you wish that most individuals knew about what it means to really live a life where you are dependent upon vouchers or subsidies or really have limited access to cash? What do you wish people really knew about that? What do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions out there?
That's a great question. The biggest is not what I mean, not to put pressure on yourself, but to always value what is better for you.
Mm-hmm.
Just I mean, budget. You don't always, just because you have money doesn't mean that you have to just spend because you have it. Like I said, I spent when it was necessary, and I saved. So
Yeah.
just budget yourself and do what you purchase what you need, not just what you want.
And Ciara, what about you? What do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions or what people don't really understand about what it means to live a life where you have limited access to cash?
Um, so what it means, what is, say, repeat it again, Miss
Yeah,
Aisha.
you know what? You know, a lot of times individuals have ideas about what people who have limited financial resources are doing with their money or what their life looks like. What do you think are some of the biggest myths out there about what it means to have a lot, to live a life where you just really do not have a lot of money to do some of the basic things in life that you want for yourself and your family?
Oh, most definitely. People, they have to be like the people on the outside looking in. They don't get a chance to actually see what you have to do when it comes to, like the people who don't have kids. They don't have the responsibilities that people have with kids. So a lot of times they don't know. Okay, so we was getting food stamps, but food stamps only cover food. Food stamps didn't cover shoes, clothes, things for school, like Miss Elsie said, the baby instrument for school. Like food stamps didn't play a part in it. Food stamps only played a part in getting your food. So you have all these other things that you have to get done, and so having resources to money that will fix some of it. But a lot of times people don't know that you're struggling or can't able to see exactly what you go through because, I mean, like I said, they on the outside looking in. They just only have their view from their point of view of how your life should be or should not be. But, I mean, I'm glad we were able to show and tell our story because I know a lot of people could relate, and I found out a lot of people related. Like I didn't know it was so many people actually living exactly how we're living. I have been told so many times. I have been through that. I've been through that, but like I said, I wouldn't know because I don't actually know, these people and what I wasn't there to actually see what they went through or how they struggled or how, they got through what they went through to get, where they are today. So.
Mm-hmm. No, wonderful. So as we are continuing to expand our work and other families have opportunities to come in and participate in the Magnolia Mothers Trust, since you all have gone through this, what is the one piece of advice that you would give to another woman who has an opportunity to live this life of having a guaranteed income for a year? What's the one piece of advice that you would give her?
Save.
I both said the same thing.
You can go ahead, Miss Elsie.
Y'all said save at the same time.
Save. There's your opportunity to get out of where you are. A lot of people think living in low income is just lovely. You don't pay rent. You live this way. No, if I did it, you can do it as well. To be honest, I lived in low income and I paid $647 a month for rent up until I moved. So save your money and get out of poverty. You can put your kids in a better place if you just save and do what you're supposed to do about your kids.
Ciara, what one piece of advice would you have?
It most definitely save. And the reason I think this most important information for us to give is because one of the things I mean, I didn't get to save like I wanted to. You know, I'm glad I was able to do all the things that I did do and able to do it on time. But also just put back, because you never know what's ahead. Like you never know what's gonna, come, like car, anything could happen. Like, just like with my mother cancer, it was unexpected. She found out the same day she went to the hospital to find out that she was what she thought was a cold. She was sick, and to find out that you have cancer and then you don't have any medication. So yeah, most definitely. And we learned that if you put back just $5 or $10 or $50 or whatever, it could add up to be way much more than what if you learn how not to touch it now. Now it's one thing if you go back get a couple, dollars out of it, but just learn how to kind of put back and save your money for when you need it.
No, thank you for that. And I love how both of y'all like the piece of advice that you would give is save. So that's wonderful. So, both of you are mothers. When you did your intro, you talked about, your kids and their ages and how many babies you have. And going through this experience over the course of the year and your kids seeing you go through this experience, what do you think some of your kids' takeaways were in seeing you operate with this money and make the steps necessary for you and your family? How do you think your kids, perceived this year or this past year? Ciara?
Okay.
I think mine perceived well, because I always taught my kids, it may be a day I don't have. You can't always go in the store. I might be going in the store to get a loaf of bread, and that's it. That might be all the money I have just to get a loaf of bread, because I don't get food stamps. So you always have to be mindful of the next day, the next 2 weeks. So my kids they know. I may not have all the time, but I make sure that they have the necessities that they need to get through the, day to day. Like we needed computers, things happen. Just because I saved, I was able to go and purchase 2 Chromebooks so they can have. So I always tell them you can't always get. It's always a need and not a want. So my kids, they value that and they know.
Ciara, what about you? How did your baby see you operating over the course of the year, and what do you think they thought about it all?
Well, Deasia voiced her opinion a lot. She thought that even I know Christmas was one of the times. I remember when Christmas came, like right after we received the money, they not knowing, Christmas is going to be better this year, but just to sit down and actually write down this list that year versus the years that have come up, it's kind of different. So just looking back on it, I know they understand and know like we were in a better situation than we was before. Just seeing that everything is being paid, and I spend more time taking them places. Them having the options to say like where we're going this time, like, oh, y'all want to go skating or bowling. And so even like when we went to the fair, like I know a lot of times we miss going to the fair, but when just being able to go and think about like we wasn't doing this and now we're doing it now, they understand and know like we are most definitely in a better situation than we was before, because I too did move out of my low income apartments and got my first house. I don't think nobody, I know first time home getters could understand, but I was so excited. I'm still excited. Like, I just can't even believe I was there and now I'm here. and it's just so much quieter.
Well, I am sure your babies are as proud of you all as we all are, because it's a tremendous story of the importance of cash and really showing the power of cash in so many different layers, not just ability to save, but ability to show up for your kids and do some of the things that they enjoy doing, to be able to show up for yourself and focus on your job or your continued education. So just the power goes throughout so many layers and so many waves. So it's just exciting to see. So one final question from me, and then we'll turn it over to the audience to see if there are any questions from the folks who are listening to our lovely conversation. I know both of you have watched the documentary. How did it feel to be documentary film stars?
It was I'm watching the video. I can't even believe just me. I shared with, probably the world, because I know a lot of people have access to watching it. Just about what I had already been going through. Just to see, like, this is like real life stuff that was going on, and so many mothers could relate. Like, even the mothers there where I live could relate. Like, I know a lot of people was in those shoes and wished that they had the resources like we did, and to actually see us be able to be on, like Miss Aisha said, be on top of, taking control of our lives, because we didn't at first. We lived whenever we could get money, whenever we could get things did, and we missed out on so much. We missed out on letting our kids experience so much. So I mean, it was a great experience, and I am most definitely thankful for everybody that played a part in helping us get everything we needed to share with you guys about what it means to be a single mother.
And Elsie, how about you? How did it feel being a documentary film star?
It was an amazing experience. It was heartfelt because I cried. But in all, it was amazing. Amazing people. I met people that was generous. They was amazing. I wouldn't trade nothing to go back to that day. Just knowing that I was walking in the shoes of somebody else, and to be able to come up out of those shoes, as they say, to put on your long white robe and walk. But it was amazing, and I wouldn't change it for nothing. It is, and I tell the ones that's getting it now, take heed, save, and do what you got to do. Cause it's not gonna come. It might not come around again. So it was amazing. It was amazing. At Rena, they came to my apartment, and my kids fell in love with them. I enjoyed it.
Wonderful. Well,
and I really, really appreciate the opportunity. I enjoyed it.
Thank you all. And I just want to say thank you both.
Miss Aisha.
I know I love y'all. And so, but this honestly, in all honesty, thank you both so much for being pioneer trailblazers in this work. When we started this work in 2018, it truly was a heart experiment. We were taking a lot of educated guesses on what we believed to be true and what we truly felt was possible when you centered dignity and trust in the equation, and really emphasizing the importance of cash. But based on the research at the time, we really did not have a lot of data about how resources would be impacted, and we knew that we wanted to do good, and we knew that we wanted to do good without doing harm, and you all trusted us in that. And in your trust, the Magnolia Mothers Trust not only continues, but this work is a pilot for so many others to come behind, and it's a model and a blueprint for so many others to come behind and say, this is how you give people money without strings and hold their dignity. So thank you both so much for allowing your stories to be shared, and trusting me with your stories, and trusting Inherent Good with your stories, and trusting the world with your stories. You women are powerful beyond measure, and I truly call it an extreme pleasure to be your friends and be in beloved community with both of you. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Aisha.
So I know we have questions. I see them percolating in our Q&A box. So Rennie, are you going to do the questions or do you want me to do them?
Absolutely. I have a few questions that have come up,
Perfect.
but first I want to just also from the Inherent Good family say thank you, Aisha and Elsie and Ciara, for choosing us to help you tell your stories. It was a true honor, and you let us into your private lives. And I don't know if I could even personally do that myself, but you allowed us to follow you and allowed us to be around your family, you know, around your kids. And that was such a, like, it has changed a lot of our lives, I must say. And without getting too emotional, but yeah, thank you. It's such an honor.
You can get
But
emotional. It's your evening too.
but I want to get to this important question. We're going to kind of take a step back, and a question that came up as the CEO of Springboard to Opportunities, like we kind of want to know a little bit about like the communities you work with. Obviously, we know Elsie and Ciara, but like what are the challenges they face? And maybe talk about it's the connection between like stress and low income or poverty. You can talk about that maybe
So is this a question for me? I'm
for
sorry.
you. Hi.
Okay, no, definitely. Thank you. So I'll go quickly because I really do want to keep the emphasis on Elsie and Ciara, but I will just provide a little more context about how we work as an organization and who we are. So Springboard to Opportunities, as I said, works with families that live in federally subsidized affordable housing. We are based in Jackson, Mississippi, where we currently work in 5 low-income housing communities, but we also do work in Maryland and in Alabama as well. And the individuals that we work with, by virtue of it being affordable housing, a lot of the individuals that we work with are low income, meaning that on average they make less than $12,000 a year. And so just the context of everything that you have to afford and live, just the stress of all of those pieces. And so there's a lot there, you know, as Elsie and Ciara have talked about, there are extracurricular activities that still come up with school that you have to address. There are still pieces with yourself and wanting to go back to school in a lot of instances that you have to address. And unfortunately, in a lot of instances, the financial resources are not there, even though a lot of our families do participate in various vouchers and subsidy programs. Those programs do not provide you with just the cash without restrictions, which is what the Magnolia Mothers Trust does by providing $1,000 a month for 12 months without strings attached. We are in essence doubling a lot of the income of the families that we work with, and $12,000 for many of us who live in privilege, and however you want to define privilege is up to you. But you know, for all of us, most of us do live a life of privilege. We take for granted what $12,000 means. And as we've heard very clearly this evening, I hope we've heard that $12,000 is a life-changing amount of money. And so, you know, as we are continuing the debate about how much money should we give people money, I think we can stop those debates. I think we have enough evidence to show that cash works. I think we have enough evidence to show that cash without restrictions works. I think we have enough evidence to show that we can actually trust people. We don't need programs. We don't need restrictions. We don't need guidelines. We don't need to give people directions on how to spend our resources. We need to trust families to show up for themselves, to show up for their families, and do what it is that they need to do. And when we get out the way, they flourish. Ciara and Elsie are just 2 of our success stories. There are many Ciaras and Elsies that I know that provide that context and can provide that evidence of the importance of cash. And not just as it relates to consumer sovereignty, the importance of cash and its ability to allow you to show up with joy and allow you to show up with your kids, to allow you to show up with your family. It pays back in dividends.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think I have a question that came up. I think someone from Facebook, but maybe Elsie or Ciara can answer is now that you've been through a 12-month program, like basic income program, what do you think about universal basic income for everyone else who's not in the Magnolia Mothers Trust program?
Sorry, you asking me what I think?
Yeah. What do you think about giving, like, expanding this program out, like, to everyone?
I most definitely, I agree that it needs to be something because, like I said, we have a lot of people in the same situation that we are in all over the world. Like I seen a lot of stories throughout the document that I was, like she said, it made you, heart just grab your heart, like, oh my God, like I'm not in those exact shoes, but I can relate. So I think that it needs to be a resource that everybody that needs it could most definitely go out and get that help and that boost because it could help you just like it helped me and Elsie. We're no longer depending on, so many other resources due to us having that boost in life. Like me going back to school was my main thing. And now that I had that opportunity to go back to school because I used a lot of the money to pay for daycare. Daycare was one of the things that I couldn't get money to do, have to pay for daycare, which, I missed out on a lot of opportunities throughout my early, years of living. And now, like you just never know what they need it for. It could be transportation. You could use it for getting a car. You could be daycare. It could be, finding, a better place to live or whatever. So for whatever the reason is that people need it, I think that those resources just need to be there for them to be able to go in and get.
Yeah, that's excellent points that you made. I know you and I talk like every week since we filmed you. But where are you at with school?
I'm actually, well, I'm in my last semester. Hopefully, if everything goes well and I stay on top of my grades and everything, I'll graduate in December. So I'm actually working extra hard so I can graduate because I'm so excited about getting a job in my field. I'm excited about getting a good job anyway because that was one of the things I didn't have a GED before now to be able to go and get a good paying job or get a job that actually pays a check. I had to get paid cash when I worked at the hair store. So I'm so excited about the opportunity. I promise you guys, it has put me in a place I never imagined.
I know when we filmed you early on when in December of 2018, and then when I saw you again, and I think it was November of last year.
Yeah.
With Les and Jackson. Yeah, felt like night and day for you. Like,
yeah.
Can you just kind of describe like the sort of your stress level? Did anything change? Did your relationships change with your kids, other family members?
Yes, it did. I mean, at first, like I said, I stressed a lot about paying the bills. I really didn't have time for relationships, so I kind of had that on the back burner, and just pretty much trying to be independent to do it on my own. But I did hair, so the little money I had doing hair wasn't getting me too far. So I mean, now I do less hair. And so like I mean I have like more resources as far as being able to help others. I couldn't do that before now. I couldn't reach out and give people gas money. I couldn't, give people rides before now. Like I can help people and I have helped people so much because I got that help and I understood that, it's a lot of people out there that are willing to see you do better in life. And so you kind of just, if everybody spread that same type of love, you'll have a lot of people get as far as they can get in life.
Pay it forward. I love it. Yeah.
Is Elsie, there's a question from Christine. How is it transitioning when you, after the program, when you no longer are receiving this additional cash?
Transitioning wasn't really just hard because, like I say, I saved. I know what I wanted, and I did what was necessary. So, transitioning wasn't really hard. You just knew in the back of your head that it wasn't gonna last forever. So we already knew that it wasn't gonna last. So, just taking the necessary steps to do what we had to do to maintain. I maintain, and I don't have to ask anybody for nothing. There was a plus for us. Never, we didn't have to ask nobody for anything. When it was time, I really had been a self person in a way, and I didn't never like to ask nobody for nothing. So I always worked, and but it wasn't always times that I had, but people didn't know that I didn't have. So just to save and put back and to know that I had it, it was an amazing experience. So transitioning wasn't really a problem because I still worked and I knew I had to, save and put back and take the necessary steps that I need to take for my kids.
Can I add to what Elsie's saying? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I want to add that I had never had a bank account before. Before now, I didn't even know what it meant to have a bank account. And having a bank account and having money in a bank account, that to know that you got it and you can go and get it, I know is a relief for anybody that, struggles and go through things from time to time, because I know if a lot of people, just a savings account, just not even just, being able to put money to a savings account, knowing that you can always go and get it when you need it, I think will help anybody. Like, that's why we so big on saving. I've never been so big on saving before now. I've never actually had money sitting in an account and I ain't touch it. So yeah, that's got to be the best feeling in the world.
Why do you think you're so big on saving? Do you think that being so excited about saving now is because you've seen the power of having the freedom to do whatever it is that you want to do for yourself and your family? Do you think that's why you're such a big saver now, Ciara and Elsie?
Yes, I have had a savings account since I think 2012, and I worked for the state of Mississippi. But it wasn't nothing in there to save to even, because by the time you get your check and pay your bills, you ain't have nothing. Mm-hmm. So you might have whatever left is in there that is to keep your account open, but to just know that you have it and to not go and ask nobody to assist you with whatever it is that you needed, then it's the joy, the joy that comes out of knowing that you have it and you can go and get it and not ask nobody for it. And and not necessarily, and I really appreciate the fact that Aisha took the initiative to even not think about us, but to think about our kids, to even open a savings account for our kids, for a college fund. So that right there alone, that was a lot to even just help us with a start with that for our kids.
And we had so many resources. I know it was so many things I found out about that I didn't even know came with just that program. I didn't know that much help was out there, but we being able to put all of it to use and know, like, Miss Aisha, she had so much going on that I never participated in. And then when that opportunity came, it just was like, it was there all along. And I just being like Miss Elsie to
just knowing the necessary resources to go to get the resources is what made it amazing. She had the resources, she had it, and it was up to you to take those resources and use it. It was up to you. So if you failed to use it, then that was on you.
Y'all are really sweet. And so let me just clarify, Miss Aisha has a team called Springboard To Opportunities. So it's not just me. For those listening, I have an entire amazing team who makes all of this work. And we have amazing donors that made the initial pilot of Magnolia Mothers Trust even work. And I'm getting emotional because I'm just thinking about how far we've come, and getting the money for the pilot was so hard because when we really talk about what it means to trust Black women, that is not something that is comes naturally for most people. So the idea that people were going to trust me, a Black woman in Mississippi, with money to give to other Black women without any restrictions or without a frame or without any proof, because y'all know we love us some proof in philanthropy. It was really hard, but the fact that we were able to do it and the fact that you all trusted us in doing it well, and to hear you all talk about the fact that we actually did do it well, just really, it warms my heart and gives me so much joy. So thank you all. Thank you to my team. If I have team members watching, clearly y'all rock. And thank you to our
we are sorry.
funders
We
watching.
are
You all rock
sorry.
as well.
Especially Sarah, she always stayed on top. Sarah stayed on top. She communicated, and if you didn't read the email, she's gonna text you and say, "Did you not get the email? Did you not read the email?" So she thumbs up, Sarah.
Yeah, she most definitely did a great job as well. Everybody, we're so excited about the different people that offered their hand in it, and just stay dedicated to standing behind us. Gave us that push. Let me say that gave us that push because I was introduced to so many people I never thought I would have met in a million years who wanted to see me do good. Like I've had people say, "When you graduate, I want an invitation." So I'm most definitely pushing forward so I can get everybody those invitations. Hopefully COVID will be over and everybody
We can have a virtual graduation party. We can do all things via Zoom. So there we go. So we are not going to let COVID stop our party. Just like we were there to celebrate you when you got your GED, we will be there to celebrate you when you finish.
Oh yes,
so.
I must definitely thank them for they showed up. I looked down there and I was just like, I know them.
I'm sorry, we have totally forgot that we were supposed to be doing Q&A, you all. Give us the rest of those Q&A questions.
Another question comes up is so we can only fit so much of your story in a 60-minute feature.
Yeah.
So is there something that you want people to know that wasn't actually captured as part of your story in our documentary? Anything else, Elsie, Ciara?
Being a single mother was harder than you guys think. I just want to say, I learned a lot from being a single mother up into being married today. I never would have saw myself being married today, but to actually look back, like Miss Aisha said, and look where we are today, like I'm in college, hopefully to get a great paying job, and my first house. I accomplished a lot in those 2 years, you guys. A lot I might didn't even talk about, but it was a lot. And I am so glad that one little program gave me the opportunity to change my life for the better. So yeah, if you guys got that push, look, let them push you. It's gonna push you to do great. So and it's gonna put you in a better situation because like I said, I'm not on low income anymore, and I don't rely on the government as much as I did before now. And to say that it feels good, but it's just like people said, leave those resources for the people that need some. And I know it's a lot of people out there that need some, and I'm happy in knowing that it's out there, that those people are getting some type of help in any type of way they can.
My thing is, as a single mom, don't let single mom deter you. You can be anything in life that you want to be if you put your mind to it. It's all about you wanting to be a better mom, not just a single mom, but be a better mom. And never let your kids see you down, even though it might be your worst day, but never ever let your kids know that you are down. So you can be a single mom and still enjoy life. So just be a better mom.
Yeah, I mean, we've received, now we've premiered the film Inherent Good to the world, yes, last night, and we're receiving a lot of positive feedback, and everyone's feeling really inspired by your stories. And, I'm not surprised. But I guess a follow-up question is about the unconditionality of the benefit that you received, right? I guess in comparison to the other benefits, other assistance that you've received, the fact that there were no strings attached to this cash, we've sort of touched upon it, but like, how does that compare? Unconditionality, no strings attached to this cash versus.
It's most definitely, with the other resources, it's so much you have to do. It's so much you have to submit.
I was on receiving the low income housing. So with that, you still had to like give them a certain percentage of it, but it still didn't deter me from keep going forward. So it was.
Ciara, what were you saying? I'm sorry. I think something happened with the technology. It got a little wonky.
Oh, okay then. Yeah, I was saying that with all of the other benefits, you have so much you have to submit. You have to so much you can only make. It's so much, you have to go through in order to get those benefits. And then to have this program that, you're just basically handling your business, nobody standing over your shoulder. If everything that we get from the government or, people get from the government was like that, I think it'll just make you be able to handle things more, better than somebody actually telling you where it's supposed to go, how it's supposed to go. If you do something other than, because I think I never really even got a bank account because, that was one of the things that they made sure, they want, do you have extra money? Do you have something? You may not qualify. You might not get that assistance or you may get cut off. This program, none of that happened. Like you were able to go and be free, handle everything you needed to handle. If it was something that you wanted to do for yourself, you were able to do that. And I know I never got my hair done, like talking about, but I was able to get my hair done and feel like me again. So
that's important. Self-care is definitely important. I think we probably have time for one more question. Are we at time?
I think we have 1 minute. Yeah, we have a minute for a last question. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's just like, for all of you, what is next? What's next? What's
Elsie,
next?
Ciara, then I'll go.
Mm-hmm. We saving for a bigger house.
Oh, yes. Elsie, what's next?
Saving for, I'm currently in an apartment, but my apartment is really like a single family home. My kids have their own bathroom. I have my own bathroom. So my next step is not to be in an apartment next year, because my stride was this year was to move into a house. I couldn't find nothing that I wanted, and I had to get out the village. So my next step will be moving into a house.
Wonderful.
Oh, I gotta get a new car.
I love it. You're doing so we're moving into a bigger house, get another car, finishing school. I love it. We're having a Zoom graduation party, having a Zoom virtual housewarming party. We are going to do all the things. So we're so happy to be in celebration with you all. And as far as Springboard to Opportunities, what is next? We'll continue to center the stories of the families that we work with. We'll continue to change the narrative around poverty. We will continue to do our part to be advocates for our families and to be a bright light and beacon of hope in sometimes really dark spaces. And we'll just continue to do the work. Currently, we have 110 women receiving a guaranteed income in the backdrop of a pandemic. We went from 20 to 110 Black women receiving $1,000 a month for 12 months. It started right prior to the pandemic hitting. We have amazing partners that have made this happen. So thank you to our partners. I could really cry because it feels like a celebration. And we're not stopping here, because what this pandemic is showing us and what our work is showing us is that cash works. And in the midst of a pandemic and economic crisis, being able to lift some of that stress off of families and ensure that they still have the joy that they need, not just to survive, but to thrive, we are going to continue to be that advocate and to be that support. So the work for us continues. We're at 110 women now. I plan on doing at least another 110 women next year. So if you want to support us, you can, www.springboard2.org, shameless plug. And we just plan on doing the work. You know, we have, like I said earlier, we have the evidence that shows that cash works. We have the evidence that shows that once you put cash up against good policies and when you center families and trust families, they do what they need to do. So we just need to do our part in supporting families and get out of their way. So that's what's next for us. Thank you, Inherent Good, for being amazing partners on this journey. I remember the first time that I met Steve and Chris and Renee, I was like, I'm going to trust y'all with my mamas. Don't disappoint. And y'all did not disappoint. And thank you so much for letting me trust you with women that I love. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, Elsie and Ciara.
You're welcome.
It's been an honor. Yes, it's been an honor. And I want to thank everyone for joining us, and Income Movement too was supporting this panel this evening. And yeah, I mean, continue the great hard work. And I look forward to, keeping in touch with you ladies and you filling us in and just talking mom to mom offline, not with the rest of the world. But inspiring stories. And, if there's anyone who's watching who hasn't seen the film, you can definitely go to our website. That's inherentgood.com, and you can see Aisha, Elsie, and Ciara's stories. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Renee.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Elsie and Ciara.
You're welcome.
Aisha.
All right, I'll talk to y'all later.
Okay,
Love
bye-bye.
on them, baby.